Welcome back, everyone. I'm very happy to have you back on stage, and the moderator for this fantastic pitching session is Ieva, our jury member, our national expert from Lithuania, and I'm very happy that she will now moderate the session for inclusion and empowerment. From my side, much success to all of the winners, and see you later.
Thank you, Nora, for this presentation. Yes, I'm Ieva Žilionienė from Lithuania. For quite many years already, I'm working with various digital innovations in public sector in Lithuania, not only in public sector. And for, I think, 9 years already, I'm part of WSA family as Lithuania's national expert and as well part of international WSA jury, which is a great opportunity to see what great is going on just around the globe in digital ecosystems. And we already had, I think, 5 pitching sessions on various categories of WSA. And these all were very interesting for us jurors and for other viewers, I'm sure. But this particular session that we will be having now on inclusion and empowerment is a really special one, because in every category, when we are looking at in WSA, we are looking for this aspect on inclusion, on empowerment, so that no matter about which topic of life we are talking about, we still ensure that no one is left behind. And this is what this particular category is all about. Today, we'll have possibility to see the finalists, the winners of this category. As you know, we have 5 winners in every category. Also, today, hopefully, we'll be seeing here 4 of them, the winners from all over the world, because in this category, the 5 winners come from Canada, Mexico, Qatar, United Kingdom, and Vanuatu. So we'll have a 3-minute pitches from 4 finalists, winners, and then we'll have a question and answers for the jury. Just a small note to the jury, we will start with slightly different order than was put on the list before. And we will start with the first project, Conexión, Migrante from Mexico. So, no time to lose. Patricia, please.
Thank you. Thank you for this great honor. Please close your eyes and try to feel the fear. The fear of losing your job, the fear of losing your family, your house, your life. This is the fear Juan Manuel had when we decided to send a message to Conexión Migrante. It was January 2017. Just after President Donald Trump announced tough measures against immigrants, especially Mexicans. Juan Manuel had a son born in the United States and needed to register him as a Mexican citizen because they wanted to come back to Mexico, but nobody in the consulate or any other organization could help him. He sent a message to us at Conexión Migrante, and our small team was able to help him in a matter of minutes. His request inspired us to start writing articles and organizing basic information for the immigrant community in our website. After replying to hundreds of messages like his, we have learned that the immigrant community needs simple, clear information to make better decisions. Today, Conexión Migrante is a unique platform that offers information, a wiki with immigration answers, and support for the immigrant community. We are a team of journalists, internationalists, technologists, and immigration experts with a solid commitment to support the Mexican and Latino community in the United States. In 2017, we received another message that changed our perspective. The man was illiterate, so he couldn't read our articles, but he sent us a voice message telling us he needed help. We decided to give him our phone number, and a few minutes later he called. He was afraid of being deported and needed advice. When we finished that call, we decided to put the newsroom phone number on our Facebook profile and on our website, and more people start calling. In the most complicated moment of the Trump administration, we received more than 200 calls per month. Today, Conexión Migrante includes WhatsApp, Facebook, a small call center, and 2 immigration experts who answer questions. Our goal is to help immigrants and their families live better. We work with the most vulnerable immigrants, helping them with simple challenges like getting a passport for a child, as well as emergencies like finding a parent who has been arrested and is facing deportation. Now we are starting to do investigative journalism. Recently, we won a grant from the Gabriel Garcia Marquez Foundation to investigate 200 or maybe thousands of children who have become orphans in the US because their Mexican parents died from COVID. In Conexión Migrante, we care about the lives of immigrants and their families, and we are working to grow our network as we seek to support immigrants from all of Latin America. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patricia. Almost right in time. So thank you for your presentation and for sharing with us your wonderful innovation, which is really interesting. And I had the chance to see it in more detail as I was in the jury of WSA evaluating this category. But I think we have questions from our colleague jurors. So please, do we have any questions? So far, I don't have any raised hands, so I will ask myself the first question then. When you are talking about these additional digital tools such as this chatbot or Wikimig, when you were presenting your product for WSA, they were at quite early stage. Now we have already some time behind. So how are these things doing?
We are trying to find many channels to communicate with the audience, with the immigrants. And that works in 2 ways. First, we help them to solve problems, but all the problems they ask an answer, then we create editorial content to help another immigrants. And the phone calls, I think it is very important because it's a vulnerable community. They are afraid of going to the consulate or going to organizations, and they think it's very easy to take a phone and call to us and ask some questions.
Thank you. Jatin has questions. Please proceed.
Yeah, I'm just curious to know that are you trying to be the single point platform for any immigrants across the world? Is this what you're trying to be? What beyond US? What's your plan, and how you are going to sustain these 2 questions into one? Yeah, over to you.
First, now we are working only with Mexican and Latino immigrants in the United States. But our next step is, I think, is naturally going to Latin America. We have a big immigration phenomena in that region, and I think it's a natural place to grow. We have for finance this project, we have a variety of grants. And we just launched a membership program that we expect will help to monetize. Besides, we have commercial contracts with advertisers from the public and private sector. And we are working every day to have multiple options to have incomes and increase our operations.
Thank you. And do we have more questions from our jurors? I think I saw one hand raised before, but not now. So then, Patricia, thank you very much.
Same question that Jatin had.
Okay, so I got it. Thank you very much for your presentation and the best of luck for Conexión Migrante and your future plans.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, and let's move to our next picture. So now we will have Bonocle from Qatar, which will be presented by Rami. Rami, please.
Hello?
Yes, we hear you now.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, we can.
All perfect.
Perfect. All right. Hi, my name is Rami, and today I want to show you how we plan on helping 40 million people get better access to technology. Last week at an event, we spoke to an old blind lady called Maria. As soon as she joined the call, she was like, "What do you have to sell me today? Is it a new Braille display worth thousands of dollars?" She said, "Keep in mind, over 70% of all blind people are unemployed. Listen, Braille is important, but this market is what's keeping Braille illiteracy rates at 90%. She said, "I've been coming to this event for the past 30 years, and I hear the same things over and over and over again. So please don't waste my time." That was when I finally got the chance to say, "Hi, Maria. My name is Rami, and can I tell you about Bonocle?" And so I told her Bonocle is a Braille device that is affordable at $500, costing less than 30% of the average cost of competition. It's portable and ergonomic, and so fits very comfortably in your hand. And it's powerful with features and uses that were never before available. It connects to your smartphone or tablet to give you access to an ever-growing library of applications. Our applications cover 3 categories. Gaming, where Bonocle acts as a controller. Blind people can play a soccer game, for example, with a sighted friend. They can just gesture Bonocle around, kind of like a VR or AR controller. Bonocle can also act as a tutor in education. It can help with learning Braille in any language, as well as mathematics, sciences, and other things. And lastly, productivity. Productivity apps, whether it's at work or in your daily life, where Bonocle is a tool to help you get over a world designed for the sighted. Existing devices have always focused on some form of reading, as if that's all we do with sight. They're expensive at thousands of dollars and have very limited functionality, and keep the community segregated both in our classrooms and our workplaces. Our team is made of 9 extremely talented individuals from 5 different nationalities across 3 continents. Since we started, our mantra has always been to be customer focused and build a product by the community for the community. Last week, we launched our pre-order campaign for our June release, and we already got pre-orders from Switzerland, Sweden, and the US that could potentially give us access to a network of over 4,000 customers. We've also received awards on both the local and regional level. Bonocle will also work on making the 2022 World Cup in Qatar more accessible for people whom are blind through navigation and in-match and post-match experiences. Bonocle will also support all languages, including Arabic, which has been missing from existing Braille devices. And lastly, Bonocle has been endorsed by MEDA, the leading assistive technology center in Qatar. That's all, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Rani. You are just right in time. It's perfect timing, and very interesting and good presentation, presenting this really unique product. Thank you for that. And now I will turn to my fellow jurors and ask them to jump into the questions, please. Yes, Yetin, please.
Yeah, I'm maybe a very basic question. I'm still trying to understand what product does technically to blind people. If you can just explain, very simple.
Of course. So the product basically allows them to, first of all, the simplest way they can use it is to read content. The content can be, you know, like a novel, complex kind of material, of course, digital, electronic content. But at the same time, it also allows them to kind of expand on the uses of Braille. So they can, for example, learn either like Braille, the alphabet, or practice their Braille skills. and kind of improve their capability at reading Braille. And the other things is entertainment. So we're also trying to use Braille to provide people with entertainment, whether it's, like digital games, which have been very, very limited, and especially within the blind community. For example, the games that already exist mostly depend on audio. What we're trying to do is provide them with kind of like a tactile experience where they can enjoy games in a new way that's never before been available.
Thank you. And waiting for other colleagues to ask their questions, if they have any. Now I will ask my question. As I understand, this product is the hardware part, the device itself, but as well the special software is needed. So are you working on that too? And how is this going, like applications for that specific tool?
So we're currently working on all the software applications and developing them ourselves. We have, however, we consider that we don't have the creativity to kind of create every possible application. So we have an API that external developers will be able to use, and we actually see ourselves in the future having, kind of like an SDK that we can provide to developers, and they can kind of just use Bonocle within their applications.
And Yatin, do you have any more questions, or this hand is still from the previous one?
Yeah. I was just about to take a permission from you itself. I'm just trying to understand how many people are already using your product, or are we yet to come out in the market? What is the stage right now?
We are currently testing the device with a lot of different people, both locally in Qatar as well as in the US. We are planning to launch the product in June of this year. So we still don't have people using the product as in customers. We basically are kind of in the testing phase.
Okay, and how hard you need to prepare yourself to sell the product? Is it a clear message that is going to blind people that this is the purpose that you can use it for? Do they need to learn or take trainings to use your product? How it goes? Last question.
Basically, the way we see people learning about Bonocle, whether before they purchase it or after they purchase it, is that we will be providing within every application kind of like a small tutorial that they can go through and learn how to use it. Other than that, in terms of awareness to the community themselves, for example, the event that I spoke about last week was actually an event for the blind, for assistive technology, where we kind of were able to expand on our community and share our ideas with a lot of different people. Other than that, we tend to use or to go to institutions that support the blind community. That's the best place to kind of share, news about the products, give them updates, or just give them information on how they could use Bonocle and the use cases that they could benefit from the device. And that's the best way to kind of get access to as many people as possible.
Thank you, Rana, very much for your presentation, for your answers to the questions, and the best of luck with launching a product and really changing the life of the people who need that. Thank you very much. So much. And now we'll move to our next pitch. And now we will see the Welcome Me from United Kingdom, and it will be presented by Gavin. Gavin, please.
Hello, good day. One second. I believe everybody can hear and see me now, which is fantastic.
Yes.
Firstly, it is an absolute pleasure to be here to present Welcome to you today. My name is Gavin Neat, and I am the CEO and founder of Neatbox, and I'm presenting Welcome, which is bringing us all back together. And one of the largest challenges that all disabled people have in the world, there are 1.3 billion of them, is in their access to customer service and their interactions with people within customer service teams. In fact, 75% of all disabled people have been discriminated against, or indeed have reported that they have been discriminated against. 50% have said that they would not return to a venue that they were discriminated in. When we take into consideration that 85% of all disabled people have hidden conditions and they would have to self-declare that condition at the time of interaction, then we can see we have a massive problem. The challenge here is not that people don't want to help, it's that they don't know how to help. And no matter how good the training is that staff have had, it is impossible to recall the information they need at that exact time. The arrival anxiety that people suffer means they won't even be leaving their houses to go to a particular venue they need to visit. But what if the staff knew about the person before they walked through the door? What if they knew how to interact with that person before they walked through the door? Using smart technology, it's possible to do that not just for the person who's using the technology, but also the person who walks in behind the person who's using the technology. And let me explain. We train staff based on the proximity of a disabled person, any disabled person, to the business they are just about to walk through the door in. This is revolutionizing the way that we deliver customer service training to staff, building their confidence in how they interact with the person who is walking through the door. Disabled people will again feel comfortable that they are empowered to deliver the training that they need personally when they walk through the door with this system. It's not a concept either. We launched in 2018 in the United Kingdom, including Ireland, Scotland, Wales, but also the Republic of Ireland. And we're now in a position where we're looking at expanding this service across the world. We've won a few awards, and just in the last year, we were being mentored by Google. The potential for this service internationally is dramatic. The potential for the disabled people who can use it is dramatic. The businesses who deliver the service, the potential for them to be able to sell and interact and provide services for disabled people is beyond dramatic. There is $8 trillion of spending power every single year, which is potentially going to be wasted or not delivered to the person who is wishing to get those services. We are so keen to wind this service across the entire world, and only WSA will be able to help us do that. It's my real pleasure to demonstrate this to you today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gavin, for your presentation. It's really incredible things that you are doing. And now I see what we have. Questions from the jurors. So, Pila, will you start with the questions, please?
Did you say my name? Yes, I guess.
Yes.
I'm interested in the monetary model. So how do you think that you will become sustainable? So are you getting some kind of funding, or?
This is a perfect question to start off with, because I knew that I had not included it in the presentation. This is a subscription model. Everything we do is free to disabled people. The business pays a monthly subscription. Because disabled people come into their business and spend money, or indeed get services, it easily covers the amount of money we charge a business every single month. And the business can also have this set up within 3 hours of actually saying they want it.
Okay.
Maybe, Gavin, you can turn on your camera so everybody can see you as
apologies.
well.
Apologies. You don't need to see me.
Did you make some kind of calculations on when you are gonna reach the 0.0?
Yeah, so we are building all the time because it's a SaaS model company. We need to have a certain number of businesses. This year we should be able to break that. But as we break that, we will also then increasingly grow. So of course we need to monetize, and we need to get more investment into our company. We've already been through one round, but for us to be truly international, and we are the only company in the world delivering this service, we need crazy investment to be able to do that kind of service.
Does anyone else have a question? I have third question, but if someone else has, please do.
I think Yatin has questions, so maybe Yatin, if you still have a question, you can ask, and if not, Yatin?
No, I mean, I have a question, but she can go with third question, that's fine. Then I'll ask. Go for it.
Go for it. I'm here.
I think that you are now on screen, so please go with your question,
Okay.
and if still I will have to
so-
come back.
Yes, my question is that how much you will be charging, and what will be you charging? You'll be charging per person. Or the subscription is for what? Like for example, there is an hotel. You will be charging per team member. You'll be charging per hotel. What's the structure? And second question immediately is that what kind of disability that we are talking about? There are so many verticals. So what kind of training, live training that we are talking about? What we are including? What we are not including? I'm just curious to know that part as well. Yeah.
Yeah, super questions. I will answer the second one first, if I may. So we cover 22 different disabilities at this time. We add new disabilities and new conditions every single week. All we need is for somebody to suggest the disability, and then we can add it into the system. The training is not full-on training. We always recommend that staff also receive awareness training. What we provide them is the ability to avoid discriminating and also to build a relationship. So we give an overview, 1 paragraph, and then 5 top tips on how to interact with that person. That might be introduce yourself. It might be don't have a light source behind you if the person is hearing impaired. And we add new disabilities on all the time, so it's very easy for us to do that. The system for payment is obviously, if we are putting this into an airport or a football stadium, is a little bit more expensive, but it is not down to the number of people through the door, because that would be restrictive for the growth of the company that wants to invite more people in. So we have a flat rate monthly subscription, and hold your breath here, but we are looking at delivering this in the UK, or we already do for some businesses, for as little as 30 euros per month. For training in all disabilities, for all members of staff, and to improve the lives of all disabled people who walk through the door.
Thank you. And Philip, I think we can have time for one quick question still. So go ahead.
So I was going to ask if how do you make the training material? But I guess that you answered it already, so that it's not so.
No, I can answer. I can follow this up. So all of the overviews and the top tips are provided to us by the charity that represents the people with different disabilities. So in every country we would go to, we would be promoting the charity that represents the people with that condition in a way to actually advertise the information. There is also a resources page, so the company can then do a deeper dive with the information, videos, training, all those other things that they can then use. Great question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gavin, for your pitch, for your
Thank you so much. I want to demonstrate tomorrow, if I may be able to demonstrate in one of the rooms in the talk area. I'm very happy to demonstrate as well. Thank you.
Great. We'll be there. So thank you very much, and the best of luck with your future plans. So, and our last, but of course not least, participants of today's pitches in this category is Diversio from Canada. And Laura, please, the screen is yours.
Hi, everyone. So many apologies for being late. It's been one of those days over here in North America. I will share my screen if that's okay. Wonderful. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we
just
can
put it in presentation mode.
Wonderful. Is it
possible you can also leave your camera on?
I think it sometimes automatically turns it off. One moment.
No worries.
Yeah, it's not allowing me to turn my camera on.
No problem. Then just we will see your slides, but not you.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so I thought I would start really with the case for change. So what problem are we trying to solve, and how are we trying to really move the diversity and inclusion conversation forward? So I think the starting point that we really begin with is the economic and social impact of failing to create diversity and inclusion within an organization. And so at a very high level, what we have created is a dashboard that helps organizations quantify, measure, and improve both diversity and equally as important inclusion within their organization. And so starting with the context, why now? Why is there an opportunity to create a technology offering that does that in a really streamlined and advanced way? So we know that, especially with the rise of social media, the balance of power between employees and companies has really shifted. And so the stakes, quite frankly, are much higher. So we know that there's about a $1.4 billion loss in shareholder value across companies that are prone to sexual harassment. We know that over 50% of Gen Z workers really prioritize positive culture and inclusion when picking a place to work. And I think one of the most stark pieces of data here is that firms that experience some sort of diversity-related scandal see on average a 3.1% drop in their market cap within 3 days of the scandal breaking. And so the idea here is that firms really need a way and a tool, number one, to understand their baseline from a diversity and inclusion perspective, but number two, to really provide that early warning signal that their company might be at risk of some sort of value-destroying event. I think we've all seen in the news that globally there's been a real push by both regulators and investors, as well as industry bodies, to implement metrics in reporting and really require companies.
We can stop for 1 second the pitch and the timer. Unfortunately, we did not see the, Laura, we did not see you clicking through the slides. I think you might share the wrong screen. It would be just a bit unfair because we also gave the other people the chance to have the technical setup, and only because you could join late. So maybe make sure that we see your presentation in full screen and that we can also see you clicking through it. And then we will probably continue and give you a few more seconds.
Great. Is this any better?
You're not in presentation mode, so maybe it's that.
Yeah, you know what? I think there might be an issue with going in presentation mode. So if it's okay, I'll stay in PowerPoint mode.
Okay, so you are now on page 4, on slide 4. Is that fine?
Yep, that's right. I'll just pick,
because we did not see you before. We did not see you moving slides.
Great. I'll just pick up quickly so that I don't take up too much time. But kind of moving through the context. So finally, I think as we all have seen,
so we can start the timer again. Thank you. Good luck.
Oh, great. Thank you. Appreciate that. Great. So picking up the conversation. So I think the final contextual piece that's relevant for our product is really the revival of the Black Lives Matter movement in 2020. And so we've seen that this movement has really influenced consumer expectations. And what we're seeing, quite interestingly, is that people are really demanding numbers. So metrics on both employee experience and diversity representation. And ultimately, employees and consumers are exercising their right to choose by prioritizing companies that have those numbers and have demonstrated really clear action plans that back up their commitments. So what does this mean for Diversio? So what we have created is basically a data-driven platform, so a dashboard solution that helps organizations use survey data to create scorecards and action plans. So starting from the beginning, effectively what we do is we use a 4-minute employee pulse survey, so really short, to collect anonymous data from employees and generate for the organization a baseline assessment of where their strengths and weaknesses are. So first thing that we do is provide them with a diversity scorecard, which allows them to interactively understand the composition of their workforce and benchmark that composition to their industry, including the ability to deep dive by department, by level, by location, etc. And I think the second thing that adds a ton of insight, because it's often considered to be ambiguous and amorphous, is our inclusion scorecard. And so this is an academically validated framework with metrics that predict how likely a firm is to outperform or experience a scandal related to inclusive culture. And so the idea here is where the real impact comes from is comparing the experience of the dominant group in the organization to non-dominant groups, identifying where there's some sort of systemic barrier in experience, and ultimately, most importantly, solve the problems. And so really the core of our solution is an AI-powered recommendation engine that takes into account not only the organization's baseline, so their strengths, their weaknesses, that systemic bias.
Laura, I'm sorry, but even without the time, I think we are really out of limits of 3 minutes plus a couple of minutes more. So I'm afraid I'll have to stop you here because the rules are quite strict. We have 3 minutes for pitch. And when we have questions and answers session, but maybe you will be able to present something important, answering the questions of our jurors. So thank you very much for your pitch. And now time for answers. To the
Laura
question.
could turn on her camera now as she stopped sharing slides. Perfect, thank you.
Thank you for turning on your camera. And we have questions from Pilar. Please, Pilar.
Today, it seems that I'm all about the money. So I'm interested in your financial model of your product. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so Fabian, do you mean how much revenue we've generated so far, or what the pricing model is for the product?
How are you going to make more revenue, and how is your system? How is it? How do you sell it, basically?
Yeah, great question. So we are a subscription-based product, and so we sell it at a base rate of about $10,000 plus $15 per employee. It is an annual subscription and really lends itself to that model because our product is all about tracking results and tracking impact. So our current client base is about 50% financial services, and the strategic angle here is that we perform portfolio assessments for our investor clients. And for each portfolio assessment that we conduct, we end up gaining an entry into usually 50 to 100 portfolio companies. And so it does tend to kind of have a multiplier effect in terms of our go-to-market.
Thank you for your answer. And we have one more question from Yatin. Yatin, please.
So I've seen generally people who are utilizing this kind of a platform, many a times they don't be honest about the answers they're supposed to give. Depending on the boss or depending on the openness or closeness of the question and answers that is going to bosses or going to public or remaining to themselves. What is your experience and how are you trying to deal with it in context of giving the better outcome?
Yeah, great question. So we've implemented basically two controls. So one is a technical control where we don't allow the user to view data on an employee if that employee will be identifiable. So what that means is we have a number of filters on our platform. If you apply too many filters, so role, level, region, etc., to the point that someone's answer would expose them, we gray out the data. So the platform itself anonymizes the data. We do not give raw data to the client. So that's kind of the technical control. A big part of our product is communication and messaging. And so we've created basically toolkits for our clients to message the survey to their employees in a way that gives them confidence that this is a third party conducting the assessment and that it really is for a very positive purpose. And we find that combination ends up generating for us remarkably, usually 80 to 90% response rates. And we find anecdotally from clients that they have many more employees self-identifying as part of minority groups as a result of working with us.
Maybe quick immediate question, if you may allow. What are the current numbers? How many clients that we have dealt with, and what is the revenue that we have generated right now? If it is a subscription, what is the MRR or what might be the ARR of the company?
Yeah, so our overall revenue is over 2 million. It's mostly North America and UK centric. As I mentioned, it's about 50% financial services companies. We have a number of industry association partnerships. So for example, one is with the International Energy Agency, another is with the Investor Leadership Network. So our client base is approaching, I think, about 400 companies, kind of varying levels, of course, of revenue, given that there's quite a size differential.
Thank you very much for that. And I think these are all the questions the jury had for you, and thank you very much for answering them and for the pitch, of course, and all the best developing your product further and realizing all your plans for the future. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
So dear viewers, these are the 4 projects that we had the possibility to see today. 4 winners of WSA in inclusion and empowerment category, who are now competing, let's say, for the name of global champion. And the work which is ahead of our jury won't be an easy one, that's for sure. But anyway, it was a really great time and a huge, great possibility to see these projects that really are doing such incredible job to make really the world a better place. Thank you, fellow jurors, for your questions, for your involvement.